So clearly I won't be looking at you, though my heart is looking at you. I am driving and thus need to stay focused. But I want to let you know about this conversation going on in my head right now. And it's mostly about what has happened with the body, with colonization. And I'm speaking as, in a lot of ways, a novice to the topic, and in other ways, someone who has deeply explored what it is to be a woman's body and a white woman's body in relation to my prayer, which is that movement can occur, that breath can open the spine and open the hips, that the world of emotional wisdom can have a place in our world. If we stop our body from breathing and stop our body from moving, it's a very, very good way of cutting us off from our power. At the last Honey Root gathering that we were at together this past weekend, my dear friend and colleague Deepika was offering a piece on the motion of emotions, that there's actually a motion, a universal movement of different emotional patterns and waves that move through the body. And culture to culture, there are some of these waves, some of these movements, some of the ways that we can use our body that are applauded and approved of, and others, other emotional patterns, other patterns of motion that are written out of the movement vocabulary of certain cultures. And when it comes to colonization of our bodies, when it comes to colonization of so many of the bodies on this planet, basically we've taken power away. We've said you can use mental power, you can use intelligence in the colonized world, but you can't use the strength of your eyeballs or your jaw or your belly without somehow being an outcast or seen as less than. So when I think of the traditional women's group, especially the New Age culture, we're creating our own reality, so be happy, be joyous. Not only is that something that we've inherited as white women, that is the appropriate way to be in the world, to smile, to be cheery, to be cute. But it also means that we are just living inside of our shadow. We are living in the shadow of patriarchy that we have helped create and has been put upon us both. And it also means that if we are basically saying that we're going to do the light side of life and that that's somehow good, the light side meaning the sparkly, kind of high frequency, angelic, giggly, happy part of life, it means that someone here on this planet, this planet of wholeness, is going to have to be holding down the other side of things. Darkness and light live together, and when they can be integrated inside of one body, I think we have a much better chance of not blaming and wronging others that are perhaps holding the energies that we're not willing to. So for example, depth, darkness, heaviness, grief, anger, so often thrown back onto indigenous cultures, into black culture. And then the concern of like, this power that lives in me, it is seen as wrong. This power called anger, this power called fury. Take away the emotional language around it, the label, and you've got a very, very strong energy. And then we go ahead and say, oh, those of you that are holding this powerful energy that lives in belly, that lives in low body, those of you that are carrying grief for the whole freaking world, those of you resting in that quality of power, no, you can't bring that version. Even though that is what is most true in your body, even though you are doing that for the rest of the world, even though you have an access point to actually being connected to the earth in ways that many of us that have been told to put on our fairy wings and be happy and joyous all the time don't have access to. And God knows we need it. So there's just a what the fuck and really a live, rich conversation going on in my mind. And when I go towards, so now what, or what actions? I mean, first of all, just feeling that, feeling the fragmentation, feeling the fact that we've made certain movements of energy in our body okay, and certain energy that moves in our body not okay. I mean, first just like be with the feeling of how crazy that is and how much that sets us up for distortion of our life force. Of course we are going to be crazy and create strange strategies and have very odd character traits that are uncomfortable for people around us, when what we're trying to do is manage and really fragment the way that energy moves through our bodies. Once we've felt into it and I go into my now what, I come back to what I believe in and what I feel is my dharma, mine to bring, which is helping joints open, helping breath open, and creating environments that are saying yes to whatever version of life force is authentic and real coming through a body. And when I say authentic and real, okay, who's the judge of that? I feel aliveness in relation to it. It doesn't feel like a mental construct or a fabrication. And what's telling me that? Probably my body. There's probably a resonance that goes on in my core when I'm around something that feels unencumbered. And a part of me that kind of shuts off when something is tense or fake, even when I'm producing it or manufacturing it in my own body. I get a little bored of myself. So just a prayer, a deep prayer that we can be building capacity to receive others' life force in whatever form it's going to come. Now, personally, I have challenge with like the pissy and the snippety and the bitchy energies that come through. And yet, if that's someone's access point to power, then I want to keep breathing on it so that they know if they open that channel, if we open the channel from the pissy, the bitchy, the bang, what's underneath there is it immense power. The bang is usually a kinked channel. Yeah. So back to what originally stirred me, which is from culture to culture, from race to race, and even age groups. There are certain people that within certain environments we say, okay, you're allowed to channel these energies, but it's those people over there that channel those energies. That's mind-boggling and somewhat crazy-making. And then, of course, if we decide that there are certain rights and wrongs to the quality of energy and emotion that moves through our body, it means that it's going to fall on someone to complete the sense of whole life. So please, if you are a bliss bunny, I just want to say, please make sure you're also addressing your shadow, because those of us that do, we're going to have to do some major hard work, extra, to just keep filtering the shadows through this culture. When people talk about emotional labor, it's because certain people aren't going for their wholeness. And granted, this is innocent. This is not something that people people are doing on purpose. No one has taught us, but please know that if you are saying yes to the darker qualities of life and not saying hi to the light, or if you're saying yes to all the light and not acknowledging the darkness that moves through your own felt experience of living, you're putting a lot of work on other people. So that's the conversation. That's the heartbeat of my present moment. And I just love full expression so much. The work I do with couples I call full spectrum relationship. Full spectrum relationship. Can my whole being be in relation to your whole being? Can we create an environment where there's a real dance between the full use of our instruments? Yeah, can we learn to do that well? So, I guess I'm a full spectrum bunny. And I'm not wronging these different expressions of life. I absolutely love that we get to do different characters and different versions. And when we can do it with awareness, it melts my heart. It means that perhaps we'll do a little less destruction to this place and to one another while we're here. So here's to awareness and full spectrum expression.